So let's then raise the big questions tonight. Is the centre using these agencies to destabilize the opposition governments, the CBI and the ED? Are the opposition governments guilty of corruption and therefore have skeletons in their cupboard? Is an Opposition-Mukt Bharat the larger game plan of the Modi government and the BJP? Joining me now are Rohan Gupta, the Congress's spokesperson, Sanju Verma from the BJP joins me, and Jasmine Shah is the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson on the show tonight. I'll also be joined by CBI's former Joint Director, Shantanu Sen. First to you, Rohan Gupta, because I want to start with Bihar. Here is a state which you come to power only a few weeks ago. Nitish Kumar, who is now your partner and the Chief Minister, is the one who made these allegations against Lalu Prasad, for which he's already been charge-sheeted. That Tejasvi Yadav was charge-sheeted in 2018, when Nitish Kumar was Chief Minister. Now today, for your Mahagathbandhan to say that the CBI is targeting us because the government has changed is not entirely true, because this scam, the allegation that Tejasvi has owned these malls, some of them in Benami names, have been doing the rounds for years and have been made by Nitish Kumar, your partner today in Bihar. So how can we call this vendetta? It's more that the law is taking its own course.
See, Rajdeep, I think BJP's mission Maharashtra is over. So obviously the agencies would require to have new state where there is opposition government, and Bihar is a freshly appointed new government of opposition parties. See, Rajdeep, the question here is not about what is the action against any particular leader. It's about the credibility of these agencies. Why these agencies are active only against the opposition party? Maybe, like, I'm not saying that agencies all the time, they don't,
No, so you know what the agencies, no, Mr. Rohan Gupta, if the agencies don't work like they were accused of when you were in power, they were called cage parrot. Now they are working, you say they are a vendetta. There may be an element of vendetta, but I'm saying in this specific case, this is a case which has been building up in which Lalu Yadav has already been charge-sheeted. And Rabri Devi and Tejasvi are named in the charge sheet. Just because the raid takes place on a day when the trust vote is going on, is that reason enough to say this is all vendetta?
Absolutely, Rajdeep. You have to see the timing of the case. That's what I'm saying. I'm not against any kind of activity or any kind of action by these agencies. But the way these agencies are used when BJP is in trouble, that is what speaks about the credibility of this government. Why only opposition parties? Yedurappa, one big example, Rajdeep, he is the king of corruption. Rather than taking action against him, he has been promoted to BJP parliamentary board. The whole country is watching this. Maharashtra, the people who shifted from Shiv Sena, there are 22 cases of ED. There is no action against even a single MLA. So obviously the whole country sees that only when there are opposition leaders involved, whether right or wrong, I am not going into it, but why only opposition leaders? BJP needs to show that if they feel that these agencies are doing credible work or they are doing their work properly, why none of the BJP ruled state or BJP allies or BJP leaders are under the scanner? I have given such examples from Hemanta Biswa Sarma to Narayan Rane to Yedurappa to Bellary brothers. I have given hundreds of examples. Why not even a single case where BJP has taken action against these leaders? Okay. Why not? PMLA, there have been 5,422 cases, not even a single case against any of the BJP leaders. Why? Obviously, we will ask the question. Okay. Yes, if you feel that agencies they do their job, let them do their job, but it cannot be only against opposition parties.
Sanju Verma, this has now become a refrain. This must be the 6th or 8th program I've done in the last couple of months, particularly since Maharashtra, the government was toppled, that the BJP is using the agencies to target opposition-ruled state governments. Bihar and Jharkhand are the latest example. In Maharashtra also, many of the very leaders against whom the ED was investigating, the moment they have shifted to the Shinde Sena, it appears that the ED has forgotten about those cases. Therefore, Rohan Gupta has a point when he says that the PMLA is being used selectively to, in a way, intimidate the opposition-ruled states, the latest example being Bihar.
Rajdeep, I heard the Congress panelists and I heard you as well. I will quickly make a couple of very pertinent points. let us not make generic accusations that the ED, the income tax and the CBI are the BJP's handmaidens. Let me give you pointedly, example by example, how the opposition is mired in corruption and the ED and CBI are only doing their job. Point number one, let's come straight to the National Herald case. Sonia Gandhi out on bail, Rahul Gandhi out on bail. We all know Karti Chidambaram, DK Shivkumar, they are all embroiled in some or the other corruption cases and are out on bail. They are on trial. Let me tell you, in the National Herald case, Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi went right till the Supreme Court and said, please quash the proceedings against us. In February 2016, in May 2017, and in September 2018, the Patiala Court, the Delhi High Court, and the Supreme Court refused to quash proceedings against accused number 1 Sonia Gandhi and accused number 2 Rahul Gandhi. So are you questioning the Supreme Court? Now let me come straight to the point of, what has happened in Bihar. As you rightly said, Rajdeep, the case pertaining to land for job or job for land and the IRCTC scam, which also has Lalu, Rabri Yadav and Tejashwi Yadav as the key accused. Let me tell you, charge sheet was filed in both these cases 4 years back. And now, after a solid charge sheet, these cases are coming to fruition. Point number three, you made a lot of points. Let me finish. Let me give you a small example of Maharashtra. What happened? Anil Deshmukh was arrested in the Vasuli extortion case. Nawab Malik is behind bars for money laundering. And both Nawab Malik and Anil Deshmukh, not once, not twice, not thrice, each of them went to the Bombay High Court 4 times. And Bombay High Court refused to grant bail to either Anil Deshmukh or Nawab Malik. Now Rajit Sardesai is Bombay High Court, a handmaiden of the BJP.
Ma'am,
So
you are cleverly, ma'am,
no,
1 minute now. Ma'am, you are cleverly changing the goalpost. I am not saying that the cases against them may not be genuine. The charge is, and I put out the whole list, that the moment the person is with the BJP, the person suddenly seems to escape the scrutiny of the agencies, as a result
you
of
don't
which...
allow me to finish.
No, you must answer that question. Mr. Yediyurappa, he had serious accusations. Hemanta Biswa Sarma had bribery charges that were made against him. You've got other BJP
Let me
leaders.
answer. I heard you.
Please respond.
I want to ask a simple question. Does Rajdeep Sardesai believe in India's judiciary and the Supreme Court?
Rajdeep Sardesai today believes... Rajdeep Sardesai believes the facts that he is providing you. These are all facts.
Let me complete in 10 seconds.
Okay, your time starts.
If you believe in the Supreme Court, if you believe in the judiciary, what stops the Congress from filing a petition against Yediyurappa in the Supreme Court? File a petition against Hemanta Biswa Sarma in the Supreme Court? You won't do that. But you will come to TV studios and point fingers at the Election Commission, point fingers at the Indian Penal Code, point fingers at the Constitution, point fingers at the PMLA Act, which incidentally was conceived by Kapil Sibal no less. And today Kapil Sibal has a problem by the very same PMLA who he drew up and made a concrete proposal of.
Okay, you have still not really answered my question, but that's okay. That's politicians. They don't want to answer the direct question. How is it that all those individuals are not prosecuted? To say that please go to the court, please go to the court is being slightly disingenuous, ma'am, with all due regard. Jasmine Shah to you. Jasmine Shah to you.
The Supreme Court.
Okay, you made your point, producer. We must move on. Jasmine Shah, what we saw today with the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar, we saw only a couple of days ago in Delhi. The fact is, in all these cases, there can be no smoke without fire. There are serious questions that are being raised, both in the excise scam in Delhi, have been raised and has led to charge sheeting in the land for job scam in Bihar. Now, the opposition can't all the time keep saying, look, the CBI is after us, the ED is after us. They are after you because there are skeletons in your cupboard, which they are discovering. Why not accept that and then challenge the BJP? If you have no skeletons in your cupboard, there should be no ED at your house.
Rajdeep, I wish this was the simplistic way in the in the way in which CBI and ED raids work. Let me tell you, just a few days back we finished 75 years of our independence, but we should not be any doubt that in the last 75 years, today we are facing a crisis of democracy. What we are witnessing today across the length and breadth of the country is a murder of democracy, not too dissimilar to what happened during the emergency years. Why do I say that? For the last 7 years, Rajdeep, just look at the amazing correlation between how the raids by ED have jumped 10x. From 2004 to 2014, if ED was raiding 600 raids during that period, now we are talking about 10x raids that are happening. Has conviction increased? Has corruption drastically increased in India? The conviction rate is still 0.5%. But what has increased? What has increased is the speed with which BJP is buying opposition MLAs and toppling government. Be it recently in Maharashtra in 2022, Karnataka in 2018 when 17 Congress and JDS MLAs were bought. Meghalaya, mind you, BJP had only won 2 out of the 60 seats in Meghalaya, but it formed the government in Meghalaya. So this is the entire Sochi Samjhi Sajish. Today they thought that Aam Aadmi Party can also be buckled by buying MLAs. Not happening, ma'am.
No, but one minute. Jasmine Shah, you are claiming... No, 1 minute. I have been hearing this for the last couple of days that our MLAs of Aam Aadmi Party are in danger of an Operation Lotus. BJP wants to buy them. We have audio recordings of it. Put those audio recordings in the public domain. Please come on my show and please put those audio recordings in the public domain. I will be delighted. You also cannot simply make these allegations. Please put it out. Expose the BJP.
Rajdeep, let the people of the country remember, in December 2014, we had said that our MLAs at that time were being approached to buy, and 5 crore, unki boli lagai ja rahi thi, 5 crore. We even did a sting video and showed that it is the Upadhyaksh, the vice president of BJP in Delhi, who actually made the offer. That entire episode, all the TV channels showed it. Something very similar is happening. This is a sinister plan. The Arvind Kejriwal government is in the risk of being toppled.
Why don't you expose them? You are Jasmine Shah. If you are claiming that you all have audio tapes, please put the audio tapes in the public domain.
Very soon we will, Rajdeep. This is not going to be a media trial. This is going to be a trial by the courts of justice. We will approach each and every channel that is available to us, and we'll do it in the manner that is befitting the kind of a murder that is happening in front of national. There's a reason, Rajdeep, why these things are happening. Today we are seeing record inflation, unemployment. Who is talking about this? You talk about your show in the last 1 week. There is no time to discuss about the issues in front of the nation. And that is what PM Modi has reduced the circus of Indian politics to. It is all about...
Sanju Verma, you cannot intervene. You got equal time. Let me though move to Shantanu Sen, because he's been a joint director with the CBI. Shantanu Sen, just to look both at the CBI and the ED, but particularly, if I may say so, the ED, because the Prevention of Money Laundering Act seems to be the new danger or the new weapon, let me use that word, the new weapon that's being used to intimidate. PMLA cases 3,985, convictions are just 23, that's 0.6%. Total 5,422 cases registered by ED under PMLA, 65% of these under Mr. Modi in the last 8 years, but conviction remains almost less than 1%, around 0.6%. So is this being used as a weapon in your view? Are the CBI moving from being a caged parrot to some other kind of more a Rottweiler, as some are calling it, or a uncaged hawk? Is that what's happening both with the ED and the CBI? Where is the conviction?
Rajdeep, lots of words are being used. And I'm scared of your calling the CBI names and the ED names. So let me get you facts straight. CBI came into being in 1963. And in 1967 itself, for the first time, CBI was misused. Why was that done? Because the Swatantra Party, and I was very much in the CBI, a very young officer, the Swatantra Party was rising. And Indira Gandhi had to fix the Swatantra Party, and there were raids on the Birlas. And those raids were quashed by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court acted mercilessly against the CBI. But it was done. And let me tell you, we had an opposition which was very good. We had Jyotirmay Basu, we had Gurudas Das Gupta, We had H.V. Kamath, Hiren Mukherjee, who lashed out against the government and brought out the corruption in the government. This opposition had VAPAM. This opposition has the Karnataka land deals. What is it doing all this? Here the opposition is a non-entity. Opposition cannot take this BJP by the scruff of its neck and point out the illegal doings which the CBI they allege are doing.
No, but the opposition with due
cannot
regard,
get any action done
Mr. Shantanu Sen, the opposition does
Now
not
let
have
me
the
tell you
ED
about
and the
the
CBI as weapons.
CBI
How does the opposition
is a
expose the government
organization.
in the absence of...
CBI has to act on the orders of the government. CBI is doing investigations and no one can dare say that CBI is doing investigation wrongly.
No, but why are they not using these
this.
investigations in BJP
We
ruled
discussed
states?
the Rajput case, remember? We both agreed it was a witch hunt. And did the CBI prosecute anybody? Did the CBI arrest anybody? So the CBI is doing investigations as given by competent authorities. It is true. The opposition would like CBI to investigate certain cases. But what are they doing? Jyotir Basu got CBI to investigate. Gurudas Dasgupta got CBI to investigate. VP Singh got the Beaufort scandal in. Hawala party was investigated. The opposition was very strong and got the corruption in the government got going. But now the opposition cannot do its homework and it is blaming the CBI for not investigating those who they think should investigate. CBI as a government organization has no choice. When the competent authority gives it a complaint, CBI will investigate. And CBI will do the investigation honestly. In the Rajput case, did the CBI prosecute Riya Chakrabarti? We both agreed it was a witch hunt. To date, neither CBI nor the ED has got after anybody. So don't blame the CBI.
Okay.
CBI plans its
Sir, I must...
31 location search.
Okay, you're saying don't blame the CBI. But remember, the Supreme Court called the same CBI a cage parrot during the years of the Congress. The Supreme Court no less called it that. And the fact is, over the years...
I don't agree with the Supreme Court. CBI is an eagle.
Okay, you don't agree with the Supreme Court.
CBI is an eagle.
Okay,
Supreme
CBI
Court
is an
may
eagle.
say anything.
CBI is an eagle, but it's eagle which seems to only swoop down. Mr. Shantanu Sen, it's an eagle that seems to only swoop down at the moment on opposition-ruled states. The CBI is an eagle that only seems to swoop down on opposition-ruled states.
Yes, because it is directed to do so. It is directed to do so.
That's the point.
And CBI as a government organization has to act on the orders of the government. Why can't the opposition act like Jyotir Basu did and Gurudas Dasgupta did? Why is the opposition silent? Why cannot get CBI to investigate these cases?
Let Rohan Gupta answer.
The VAPAM case was there. What did the opposition do?
Shantanu Sen, I have to put Rohan Gupta. According to Shantanu Sen, if you have a strong opposition, they can expose the government and thereby virtually force the CBI into investigations. He's giving the example even in the UPA years. Remember how the opposition used the agencies in a way to target those who were in the government at the time, whether it was Mr. Kalmadi in the CWG issue, whether it was Mr. A. Raja in the 2G issue. Why can't you expose specific irregularities in the government?
Please.
Rajdeep, if you see last few days or few months, we have been exposing this government. But the issue here is, Rajdeep, you know, that any government who is in power, there is at least some, you know, sensitivity towards public opinion or something which is true, which is not. You don't see this in this government. You have done at least 8 to 10 shows. Even I have. And this is the government, and every new day, like Maharashtra Mission Kamalam is over. Now they are moving on to Bihar. Now they are moving on to Jharkhand. So there is limit to everything, Rajdeep. And opposition parties, they are fighting tooth and nail. Whether it was...
Yes, but you're fighting tooth and nail for your survival. My point is, Nele pe dela. Why have you not come out? Look, opposition parties, and I include the media in the opposition, their job is to expose corruption in those in power. And maybe over the last 7 or 8 years, while there's been a lot of smoke, we haven't been able to nail the culprits in many of the BJP-ruled states in the manner in which the CBI and ED are being used to nail the government. Yes, Jasmine Shah, what do you want to say?
Rajdeep, I'll give you a prime example
Rajdeep, this
of
is not
a
fair.
scam
I've been
being
asking you for time.
One minute, you be
exposed.
last. I'll get you last.
You know, when the liquor scam, the talk of the liquor scam started in Delhi, we asked a very simple question. What is happening in Gujarat? There's supposed to be prohibition. Every year, hundreds of people are dying in spurious liquor. Experts, not Aam Aadmi Party, experts have pegged the entire trade of illegal liquor in Gujarat at 10,000 crores per annum. We knew, Rajdeep, last year, thousands of crores drugs were caught in Gujarat. Have you ever heard CBI or ED raiding? So it is fine to say that opposition can raise issues. That is our duty. But we don't have investigative paraphernalia of the state that the state has. But such blatant ignorance of the fact that there is khuleam liquor mafia and drug mafia operating in a state like
let
Gujarat.
Sanju Verma, who otherwise if she gets any more
that.
impatient will pounce on me. Sanju Verma, how about sending the NCB to look at what's happening in Gujarat in terms of drug trade? Why not send the CBI and the ED to find out what's happening with the beneficiaries of the large trade in liquor? Why not? Why is it? End of the day, you accuse the Congress of turning the CBI into a cage parrot.
Can BJP deny that spurious liquor is
Okay,
not
Jasmine Shah, let her respond now. Go ahead,
May I
Sanju.
please respond? I did not heckle anybody. Rajdeep, with no offense to you, I'm surprised that instead of saying that Modi government has done a great job in nailing corrupt people like Anil Deshmukh, Nawab Malik has filed a charge sheet against Chara Ghotala fame Lalu Yadav, Rabri Yadav, Tejasvi Yadav, is on the heels of Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, accused number 1 and 2 in the national heritage scam. You are sitting here and questioning the bona fides of CBI, of the Enforcement Directorate, and of the income tax. India must be the only democracy where if you take action against the corrupt, so-called neutral journalists, rather than giving a pat on the back to the ruling regime, actually question the bona fides of the probe agencies. Not once, Rajdeep, have you asked panelists, did Manish Sisodia flout the Delhi Excise Act of 2009? Did Manish Sisodia flout the Delhi Excise Rules of 2010? Did Manish Sisodia deliberately cause 144 crore loss to the exchequer? Did Manish Sisodia give back 30 crores of earnest money to his group of friends, whereas that money should have gone to the Delhi
There is a similar report in Haryana. There is reportedly a similar report in Haryana, which is BJP ruled state, but there I don't see the CBI and ED moving. That's my job. I want all of you. I will be very happy if every politician exposes the other politician. Put all the dirt out. Get all the dirt out.
What is happening in Gujarat? Hundreds of people dying because of spurious liquor. So,
Okay. Time out. Okay, time out. We will get into endless recrimination and point scoring on this. The fact is, these are the country's premier agencies. We expect them to act fairly. We expect them to act in a manner that ensures that everyone who is involved in corruption is brought to book. You cannot be selective when it comes to corruption. That's where the question of bona fides comes in. That's why the neutral journalists that Sanju Verma spoke about ask questions to both sides, Sanju Verma. You're too used to having journalists who ask questions to one side. I refuse to do that. I refuse to be part of that media. I will continue to ask questions to both because the time has come that every party is held accountable, particularly those in power. So let me leave it at that. Let me not say more. You cannot intimidate me by saying that I will not ask questions, that I will only ask questions to one side. We will ask questions to both sides.